Hello everyone, today in this video we'll fight against the utmost character of our world around us, and taking into account that my recent video about the civilization Russia belongs to induced some controversies on the net. That makes me happy because it makes people think. Now I would like to record a video about the origins of so-called Ukrainian nation. I'm sure that it will also induce many controversies because why I said so-called Ukrainian nation? Because in my opinion there is not such a thing yet well formed like Ukrainian nation. Actually, what's that? We should go back to the past, of course. History will tell us the truth. And these regions were inhabited by people who were called Russians, Eastern Slavs, and they were speaking Russian language with different dialects because the territory on which they were living was huge, from modern territories of Polish Slovakia borders to the territories where we have now St. Petersburg, where they were largely mixed with Ukrainian population. But okay. And these people were having one state for quite a while, and in 988, AD, Volodymyr got baptized from Byzantines, so Eastern Orthodox Christianity, and in 1054 AD, Yaroslav the Wise divided his huge state into many dukedoms, each dukedom for his son, and later these divisions were progressing. Of course, such divisions never bring anything good, because then it was easier for Mongols to make this country subjected to them completely, and for many generations Mongols were exploiting this territory not only for taking recruits from there. Huge invasions in the 13th century, especially on Kievan Rus, so southern part of Rus dukedoms, were particularly destructive, and we can say that the continuity of statehood and what follows the continuity of statehood, identity was lost because there was no central power to which people could identify with, so the only remaining part was Orthodox Church. But as we know, Orthodox Church never created an identity, and the only survived statehood that was keeping the traditions and some identity was on the north, Novgorod, and from the Novgorod later we have transformation into Muscovy dukedom, and later into Tsarish Russia in 16th century under the Ivan the Great. But of course later the majority of the territories of former Kievan Rus from the times of late Middle Ages were conquered by Great Duchy of Lithuania. Since 1569 they were just on the basics of the union in Lublin given to the crown of Poland, and these people were still largely the inhabitants of this region, Orthodox Christians, and exploited and ruled by mainly Cossacks. Later we have Cossacks uprising against the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth, and with the support of Tatars, Crimean Tatars, but when Crimean Tatars, it was in the mid of 17th century, turned back from Cossacks, they asked strong Muscovy to help, and this because Muscovy recovered after Great Sorrow period, which started after the death of Ivan the Terrible in 1584. So when this state recovered, they invaded eastern part of Polish Commonwealth, supported Cossacks, but also subjects to Tsarish crown, and this is the way how these territories slowly slipped away from the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth to Russia. There was also attempt of making a union between two churches, Orthodox Christians and Catholic one. There was and still there are some remnants of the so-called unionist population. These people, Orthodox Christian, who are in the union with Rome, so Roman Catholic Church. And the thing is that these people, these Rusyns, we were calling them, didn't have national identity. They were speaking their Russian language largely and confessing Christian Orthodox faith. But in the 19th century, second half of 19th century, agents of Germany and mainly Habsburg were doing everything to restore the identity of Ukrainians and just built a new one in the opposition mainly to Polish identity and to lesser extent to Russian identity. And thanks to the actions of these Habsburg activists, Ukrainian nation was formed, and as I mentioned, Ukrainian identity was formed as something completely opposite to Polish identity. That is why even today Ukrainian chauvinism, this banderism, is the strongest in the western part of nowadays Ukraine, where people were subjected to mainly Habsburg Austro-Hungarian propaganda, and in the same way the Lithuanian modern Lithuanian identity, which is actually Żmudź and Augštot. It's not Lithuania. This what was historically Lithuania is largely nowadays Belarus. So these so-called today's Lithuanians, they were also created by this time German activists to divide Polish nation into smaller fragments and to create Lithuanian identity in opposition to Polish identity as well as in opposition to Russian identity. And unfortunately Germans succeeded, like mainly Habsburg activists succeeded in the south, creating Ukrainians. This is brief history how we ended up with something so-called Ukrainians, which is still nation in the making. And this is how it looks like, and it's very aggressive, not confident of its identity, and even if we meet them, majority of them still speaks Russian. They even don't know so-called Ukrainian language, which is a mixture of Polish, Russian, and some other languages from the minorities they were and are still living among them. All the best, have a nice day, bye.